Hello and welcome to News, Games, and More, IGN's live news show where we bring you gaming news, entertainment news, and a little bit something more. There's always more to this. Joining me today, we have Stella, Terry, and Mitchell. How y'all doing?
Doing good. Hi.
It's
Fabulous.
hot, but it's good, I guess. It's very hot.
It is very hot, and I have on this vest that I'm probably not going to have on throughout this entire show. But I have it on because we have like 3 DC related stories, so I decided to put on my DC related vest. Now we've got a lot of DC related news today. Again, indicative by my attire. As we're on the heels of DC Fandome, DC's upcoming fan event, which kicks off tomorrow. As such, we're bound to get like little droplets of DC news here and there to kind of like keep us DC fans hyped. And our first story, we got Zack Snyder cutting out a line in his version of Justice League that he thinks literally makes no sense. Now it's the Snyder cut, so it should come as no surprise that we're literally going to get something cut out of the movie. Now, Screen Rant picked up on an exchange between Snyder and a fan who posted a question to the director on Vero, quizzing whether Superman asks Batman if he bleeds in his cut of Justice League. Does he bleed, man? I want to know.
Do you bleed?
I believe that's verbatim audio.
That's it, verbatim. That's the line. You did that perfectly. Now, despite being a callback to the Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice movie, Snyder apparently he wasn't a fan of that particular line appearing in the Justice League script, cutting that line out because he thinks, again, it literally makes no sense. Now, given the fact that this line is a callback to the previous movie, flipping the question posed to Soups, do we agree or disagree that Snyder's his take on this particular line? Terry, let me start with you. Since you do the best Batman impression.
And Superman.
Yes.
It's interesting, and I think that question, Akeem, is the biggest conversation starter among fans that I've seen in response to this story, because Zack Snyder, the whole idea of the Snyder cut goes back to fans not being super pleased with the Joss Whedon recut that came when Justice League was first released, and Zack Snyder has made no secret of the fact that he's pretty unhappy with the way the movie shook out. And certainly, I'm sure, obviously he feels emboldened to drag the Whedon cut of Justice League because he is getting the Snyder cut. I thought it was interesting in particular, though, that, obviously there are legions of vocal fans pro Snyder cut across the web that have campaigned in real life to make this movie a reality. But I saw a lot of comments on IGN that were kind of turning back on Joss Whedon, both on YouTube and on our website, where they were like, really, dude? Like, number one, if you rewatch the scene, it kind of actually does make sense. I don't know where you're coming from saying this doesn't make sense. And also, he references that it was in the original script for Justice League, but then he ultimately cut it. Joss Whedon went back and included it. It just, I don't know. It seemed like it was like an off-the-cuff response in the Vero chat that has been one of our biggest stories of the day. I think it's a little unfair to be like, it literally makes no sense, and it's kind of like people in glass houses. We'll see. Hopefully the Snyder cut is the most brilliant thing we've ever seen because people have wanted it for so long, but who's to say? It could not be absolute worst case scenario. So I thought it was kind of a weird comment for him to make.
100%. I totally agree with you, Terry. I mean, because it's not. Look, as a matter of fact, I'm looking at a comment right here from an IGN user, Darth258, summarized it perfectly. So Snyder doesn't understand what a rhetorical question is. Like we're talking, like he's Superman's talking to Batman, who is a human with no superpowers. So it's obviously he knows that he bleeds. I just thought it was kind of weird. Stella, what's your take on this? Have you seen the original movie? I know it's a very long commitment.
Yeah. So I haven't seen it. I heard a lot of mixed reviews about it, so yeah. I kind of avoided watching it. But I don't know. I guess with no context, it doesn't make sense. So maybe he's just lacking the context that fans have because they've seen the film in its entirety in the past films. But as someone who's never seen it, I'm just like, yeah, I guess that doesn't make sense. but maybe I need to watch it to actually get more context and why it's there.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because obviously Zack Snyder is like one of the only potentially, or one of few people who knows what his original vision for the movie was. So I think he, of anyone, could see glaring inconsistencies and kind of where he wanted a character like Superman in Justice League to go. Because if you guys remember, all the way that far back, Justice League was originally supposed to be 2 movies. The first part was supposed to be about, Superman seemingly coming back as like, an evil Superman, and then a good Superman coming back and being kind of resurrected and back to normal in Justice League Part 2. They kind of tried to truncate that and do it all in this movie, and Joss Whedon was tasked to like make the movie lighter and all this stuff. Fans who have tracked the movie over the years can see, and it's kind of been even what Zack Snyder's teasing in the lead up to Fandome, but can see all the things in the original Zack Snyder cut of the trailer that didn't make it into the final movie. But yeah, I think a lot of the people who did watch the movie, to your point, Stella, were like, no, it kind of did make sense. And if it doesn't make sense to Zack Snyder, I think it's only in the context of what he imagined the movie to be, which, we'll get to see next year or whenever the Snyder Cut is finished.
Yeah, and for me, just like, I guess if you kind of like take it, on surface value, I can kind of see why someone might think it doesn't make any sense. But again, like if you have like that context of the first film, you kind of know why it's actually there in this film. And actually, Stealthy Gamer, another IGN user, this is a bit of a lengthy response. This person says, "I'm sorry, Snyder, but that line literally does make sense, as this article says it references BVS, Batman versus Superman, when Batman says this to Supes. Yes, you see, we all know this as fans if you've done your research. In Justice League, Superman is furious at Batman because in that moment he blames Batman for his death, and it is a threat and intent to do harm to Batman. So actually it makes complete sense." But again, like this is Snyder's cut, so I guess we'll just have to kind of like wait and see how his cut looks, I guess. Hopefully we'll find out, what else makes sense in Snyder's cut or what doesn't make sense. I don't know. I'm kind of curious, but I know I'm not going to put you on the spot here, Mitchell. I know you haven't seen it. You haven't made that 3-hour-long commitment just yet. But what are your thoughts on this? Before we move on?
Thinking about it, trying to put myself in like the perspective of Zack Snyder, maybe he thought that, having a line that calls back to a movie that maybe some people don't know that they should be watching in the lead up to Justice League. Maybe that was his thought. Because if you don't have that context, that it was something that was said in Batman vs. Superman, hearing Superman ask Batman, "Do you bleed?" is a ridiculous thing for him to say. So like I can see that aspect of it. But so, yeah, I mean that's kind of my thought. Without having actually seen those movies and just seeing those isolated clips on YouTube and trying to put myself in that perspective of a director who decides that he doesn't want this line in the movie anymore. That's what I would come up with.
I will say, given how punchy Zack Snyder's been in the lead up to Fandome, I cannot wait to see what the panel tomorrow looks like and like what he actually says. Yeah. I mean, we're all kind of assuming we'll get that full teaser for the Snyder Cut, the full trailer, because he's been giving the little dribs and drabs out in this past week in the lead up to the movie. But yeah, I'm curious what other, it's clear in all his former casts, or I guess current casts now, social media posts, they really stand behind him. So I'm curious who will make an appearance, and like, especially with Ray Fisher coming out with a lot of accusations about what life was like on the set with Joss Whedon when he came back to film Justice League. I wonder if it's going to be like a bit no holds barred in terms of like what they actually talk about that recut of the movie during that panel.
Yeah, and the panel actually kicks off tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. I'm going to be there. Oh, I'm going to be here. I'll be there virtually, and hopefully no one bleeds during this panel, because I don't think
we know what to ask though if they do.
Now, our next story looks like Epic is turning their legal dispute into an in-game event, which is kind of odd to me. Now, Epic Games released a blog post detailing an in-game tournament meant to, quote, celebrate the quest for one more victory royale with friends across all platforms. Now, what it really means, though, this is beyond a final chance for iOS users to play with others before the game is updated for Chapter 2, Season 4, an update iOS players will currently not be able to install, is another opportunity for Epic Games to highlight its ongoing feud with Apple. I don't know why you want to feud with Apple. This is crazy. Now, the Cup will begin on August 23rd and will include the chance to win the Tart Tycoon outfit, the real life hashtag free Fortnite adjustable hat, and one of 1,200 pieces of gaming hardware. Now, Apple removed Fortnite from its App Store soon after Epic Games implemented a direct payment option on mobile devices. The direct payment option allegedly broke the rules, and Epic, seemingly prepared for this action, filed a lawsuit against the company. Now, how do we feel about this? Does it seem like Epic might have had like this entire thing planned from the beginning? What do you guys think? Stella, let me start with you.
I don't know. It's been interesting following this since it started. I don't know. It seems like they were pretty ready. Like they pulled out their statement really quickly. I don't know if I necessarily agree with all of this. Like, it seems like they're turning their community, like their massive amount of fans, against Apple. And it's like, this is kind of between them and Apple. And I feel like they should be sorting this out on their own terms. But the fact that they're making this like extremely public and trying to cast their like fans against Apple, I think that's really interesting. Also, excuse me, this isn't going to hurt more than just Epic, right? Like, it's going to affect people, other developers who actually use Unity, I believe. So it's like a
Unreal.
It's like a bigger thing. Unreal, yeah, sorry, Unreal. But it's like a bigger thing than just Fortnite. But they're clearly just kind of concerned about their own property right now. So I find that kind of interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how like this news just broke literally last week, and it seems like they were kind of prepared for this, and we actually just had an update to an article where apparently the Epic CEO, he requests permission to launch an Epic Games Store app that doesn't adhere to Apple's payment system. So I don't know why this should be like a shocker that they turned him down. But again, like this just all seems very carefully coordinated to me. And it just blows my mind. Terry?
It was interesting because, if I'm not mistaken, the update that happened a little later today was that Apple released a statement saying that Tim Sweeney requested special treatment and knew that it was outside of, Apple's terms and conditions. But he responded to that, quote tweeting and saying, "Here's my actual email that I sent, where you can see I wasn't requesting special treatment just for us, but for anyone who's putting their game on the App Store." In that, you see his email was sent June 30th, I believe, and that he said, you have 2 weeks to kind of have this discussion with us. So if we look at that timeline and we say they knew by mid-July that things were not going the way they wanted, and this is now mid to late August, we know that it seems like they probably had a month to plan for it. And I think we also know the development cycle. Like, you can't turn around an event like some of this. You can't turn around those marketing beats that thought out that quickly that it's like the day or the next day. So Stella, to your point, kind of tying this back to the last story, the Snyder Cut even being released shows the powers of a fandom and a community being really vocal and outspoken, in that case to Warner Brothers, and saying, we want this. It feels very manufactured that Epic is trying to do the same type of thing by literally, like in their announcement about the event today, they were like, if you're upset and you're an iOS user, make sure you tweet at this Apple like help handle and use the hashtag free Fortnite. And there are plenty of tools that you can use to track how much a hashtag's been used. So like, it feels very manufactured that they're trying to use the community to force this through. And looking at the comments, it feels like people are sniffing it out, where I don't know within the community if that's how people feel as well, but certainly externally it feels like that.
Right. Yeah. Like that's the question that I have, because like I'm not really like actively involved in the Fortnite community, so I'm kind of curious, like what's the fan sentiment about all of this that's occurring, like all the people that I know and that we see, much like you said, Terry, like they're sniffing this out. They know that, wait a minute, something about this doesn't seem right, because again, this literally just happened last week. and it just to have all this lined up so perfectly to this day, and with these releases and now this event, you know, it just seems it seems like it was planned for weeks in advance. And we actually have some commenters here that have sniffed this out, and I'm going to read some of their comments. We got one from Hamburglar. He's Hamburglar. Very nice username here. He says, I really wish they'd stop being childish about this, especially since they were fully aware of Apple's policy and 100% in the wrong. And then they go on to say, stop trying to get your customers to fight your greedy multimillionaire slap fight for you. Jeez, calm down, buddy. Calm down. Wow.
Meanwhile, Hamburglar's eating McDonald's like.
Oh, man. And we also have a comment from Angry. You know what this comment's going to read. Angry02, who says, they're not even trying to hide how much they planned this. Oh, boy.
I mean, it is like not professional, right? Like it's not. It's interesting because now we have the power of social media. We have the power of like using our fans to, you know, kind of direct them the way that we want them to go. And it's like seeing big companies like this take advantage of that is kind of, it doesn't feel quite right. Like looking at it as someone who does play Fortnite every so often, because I think they have a great community. I think they've done something really great with the game. Like they've been able to really hone in their marketing skills, and the fact that they're using this to kind of like guide people their way. Like it's interesting because some of these kids that play are very impressionable, and you know, maybe they'll make some claims that aren't exactly like the most educational because they don't know everything that's going on. So to me, this just doesn't feel professional at all. It just doesn't feel great.
No, I agree with you. And as someone who is a creator, now this is obviously looked at differently because these are like two multi-million, possibly billion dollar companies right here that we're talking about. But like, as someone who is a creator, like I know how you can possibly galvanize your audience and have them go against a particular company, be it a sponsor or another brand that might be doing something wrong to you. So it kind of feels very, very icky to do that. And I've seen actual content creators, YouTubers that have done that. You know, like a certain sponsor decided to stop selling their products, or they decided to put them on blast on Twitter or on Instagram, wherever it may be, or make a YouTube video, you know, pretty much talking about this very publicly, you know, this wrong, in quotes, this wrong that was done to them. And not in so many words, kind of like, you know, again, like galvanizing their audience to kind of just like, without saying go against them, go at them. Pretty much that's what you're doing by creating all this type of content. And that's essentially what I believe Fortnite is doing. But I don't know. I kind of want to take part in this event just to see what it's all about. It's more so for research purposes, not necessarily because like I'm in support one way or the other. It's more so like I just want to see what this event entails. Mitchell, how do you feel about all of this? Are you still playing Fortnite?
Definitely not playing Fortnite. But I think it's all circus. I think the interesting thing is, you know, they're using the hashtag free Fortnite. And the honest truth is that if Epic wanted Fortnite back on the iOS store, they could do it. All they have to do is just take out the secondary payment option that they have, and, you know, I mean, at this point, maybe the bridge is burned between them and Apple, but you know, this is kind of a mess that they knowingly have started, because, and you know, maybe that cause is just because they are fighting for getting that 30% cut that Apple gets from all games on the iOS store or whatever. They're trying to bring that down, or at least offer some competition where, you know, they could do essentially what they did with the PC market with the Epic Game Store, where they have Steam that takes its cut, and then they have the Epic Game Store where you can put your game on the Epic Game Store, and you know, Epic takes a substantially less cut away from that. So that's essentially what they want. They want to have iOS users and Android users to have this option of either buying from their store or the iOS store. And what they did was they they knowingly gave people the option of paying, you know, the iOS price, which was like $10, or their price, which was like I think $7 or $8. And obviously, you know, not knowing anything about the situation, people are going to go for the lower price. So they knew exactly what Apple would do when they implemented that that change to Fortnite. And this is absolutely planned. I imagine like a war room in Epic's office where they just have whiteboards and flow charts and like, okay, we're going to do this. If Apple does this, we're going to do it. But if Google does this first, we're going to go this way. It's like a choose your own adventure.
Yeah, you can tell from the outside, like, Epic wants to present themselves as the little guy of like a multi-million-dollar company against a multi-billion-dollar company. But even like as you lay it out, Mitchell, they're talking about saving the consumer $2, but making $1 for themselves is like really what it's coming down to. And yes, like having these big companies, we see it with like cable companies and all like the top, you know, Fortune 500 and how it's like these you know, all these media companies keep getting smaller and smaller as they acquire each other, and you want to have that market competition to make things better for consumers. And like that's on paper what Epic is trying to do, but I think what they've done about it like is actually kind of backfiring from a public perception where it just does feel very manipulative. And I feel like if they'd gone the route of getting all the people who are on the Unreal Engine, like all those smaller developers, that they're like, hey, we're out to help them, help the little guy, like you're hurting them by doing this, to get them to rise up and them to start like this crowd swell movement, that might have been more impactful because you're hearing from these other developers that it's actually impacting. But instead they're like, hey, a bunch of like 12 and 13-year-old kids like start attacking the Apple like help thing because you're not going to get to play that
like flooding them
anymore.
The only way to kind of like, you know, solve this is just to have like a battle royale between Apple and Epic Games. I mean, I think we all want to see that, right? That's what we want to see. Well, not in IRL. I don't want to see this in IRL. I want to see this in the game.
That's like the in-game event that they're trying to put on a little bit, right? The Victory
but
Royale.
Apple's not going to be okay. I wish Apple were associated with it. They're not going to be a part of it. But anyways, we've talked too much. This is the longest I've ever spent talking about Fortnite, I think, in my entire life. So let's move on to our next story, which is about another game. Well, this is a game, not another game, but this is a game that I think the general consensus on the internet is that it's freaking awesome. And of course, I'm talking about Black Myth Wukong. Yes, Black Myth Wukong, the game science founder, the folks behind Black Myth Wukong, responded to the huge, sudden popularity of the game and said that the team will now, in quotes, hide to continue development and apologize for problems that made it into the pre-alpha gameplay. I didn't see any problems. Maybe that's just my consumer mindset. I don't know. It looked like it was ready to be played for me. Writing on Weibo and translated by Reset Era member Nightingale, and confirmed by IGN, of course. The developer explained that the 13 minutes of gameplay used to introduce the game were released to be honest about the game, as well as help attract more potential employees to join his company. He also added that the team has been happy with the explosive popularity of the trailer, but makes clear that they won't let it go to their heads. That's good. Being very humble about it. And even asked viewers to forget the footage as it doesn't represent their best work. That's just so crazy to me. It's crazy how humble, he is about this whole situation. Now, I'm kind of curious from the panel, though. What should we make of this statement? What do you guys make of this statement? Forgetting about this beautiful footage? Is this something you could ever forget about?
No,
Mitchell,
that's impossible. This I have not been so blown away by 13 minutes of gameplay for a game that I had no idea existed prior to watching it than I have for this game. And I came into this like pretty skeptical. But once it got out of this thing of the cicada flying and it got into Wukong swinging the Nyoibo around, oh my god, it looks so good. Yeah. It's like exactly what I want as someone who's really into action games. And it's kind of like a blend of Dark Souls plus a much faster action oriented combat system like a Devil May Cry or a Ninja Gaiden. And yeah, this looks absolutely incredible. And I think for anyone to say that there are issues that they wish were better, I think it speaks to a level of perfectionism that I honestly don't even know if that's a good thing.
Well, it's so charming because it was like we were talking about this yesterday on NG Plus because it was like everyone was talking about it, right? And at the time we were like, oh, we don't want our expectations to be set too high. Like, this looks incredible. We all know that you can see an incredible trailer and gameplay, and the finished version sometimes doesn't live up to that. And meanwhile, they're saying the exact opposite. They're like, we're ashamed you even saw this. Like, it's going to be so much better. They're talking about like the soundtrack not syncing up perfectly, and there being like a couple frame rate issues like here or there. And it's like, look at what you made. I know the worry now is like, will it ever come out if that is the level of perfectionism that they have?
Yeah.
Stella, what'd you think of this when you saw it?
Honestly, I waited because it was blowing up everywhere, and I was like, oh, I kind of want to wait and see it on my own time. So I saw it this morning, and I was like, oh, I really want this because I actually just finished up God of War, and so this kind of reminds me, like, this is like a blend of God of War gameplay mechanic, like fight mechanics and Dark Souls. So to me, I'm just like, oh my god, yes, I would love this. This looks great. Like, I want to explore the world. I want to play as this guy who just kicks ass. And then seeing that they're being so humble, I'm just like, all right, come on. This is really good. You have to understand that, this is a pretty good release trailer, like gameplay thing that you guys put out, and it's really nice. It kind of reminds me of those the phases that everyone's had where they post a picture of themselves and they're like, oh, I don't look that good, but kind of felt cute today, so here's the picture. I'm just like, this gameplay is great, just embrace it, like, please. And it's great that they want to improve on it, but I'm just like, it's so good as it is, like where it is now, it's so good. Like, please let this just be encouragement for you guys to continue. So
Stella, I'm obsessed with the idea that this like trailer is the gameplay version of like felt cute might delete later.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. That's what it feels like.
It kind of is, though. It kind of is.
Please forget about it, but we'll keep it here for you.
Felt cute might delete in what 5? Hopefully you don't delete at all. Like,
I know.
We're never gonna forget about this but I feel like, so this speaks to the perfectionism that the developer is trying to go for with this game. Do we think, and based upon that statement, do we think we'll see this game like in maybe 2 years, in maybe 3 years, like based upon that statement?
I don't think we're going to see this game at least till 2022, 2023 in terms of just another look at it. And then after that, I don't think it's coming out for another year or so. So I think this is a 2023, 2024 game.
Yeah, I think part of what they talked about is how they used this this footage to hopefully get other developers or employees interested in contributing to the game. So I'm kind of with Mitchell on this. It sounds like this, clearly it's well conceptualized, well designed, but they, I think, want to like double their team size, which seems to imply that it's not very finished. But certainly, a next gen title, that was something that a lot of people were saying after first seeing the footage, is like, this is one of the first games to come out seemingly for the next gen that feels like it's totally taking advantage of everything that the new systems will have to offer, which is, worth the wait, right?
Yeah. Also, Akeem, you're a big Dragon Ball fan. He was riding Nimbus. Did you see that?
I know. I know. God. Also, the power rod, dude. The power rod or power pole extend from Dragon Ball. Yes, dude. Trust me. Like, I was salivating when I saw this footage, man. Because there have been so many games and television shows and movies based on this particular character. So, like, I was just. Like, this is like the first time that I've seen it fully realized to my imagination. It met my imagination what I saw in that footage. I hate calling it a trailer. It's not a trailer. I saw gameplay footage. Would you still call that a trailer? Sounds weird.
I would say extended gameplay look.
Okay, there we go. And just to round off this particular conversation, a comment from IGN user Secret Game says, "The God of War trailer from 2016 made my brain explode. Watching the Black Myth trailer made me feel the same." You have two brains, dog. Damn. Okay. Well, congratulations on a double brain explosion right there. Now, I wonder, again, guys, I wonder what's in store for this game. We'll have to wait and see. Speaking of Wonder Woman 1984. See that segue, guys? Director.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's why you're the best in the business, Akeem.
Thank you very much. Wonder Woman 1984 director Patty Jenkins tweeted the new poster for the film, which is a colorful masterpiece and worthy of all the frames in my house and on my walls right now. Like, I would with this. Along with the poster, she tweeted out, quote, "Many fun new things ahead. See you tomorrow. Who's ready? Hashtag trailer drop." I'm suspecting the trailer might be dropping soon with that comment. Now, for those wondering what she meant by "see you tomorrow," DC Fandome begins tomorrow, August 22nd, when part 1 of the show goes live. Now, the event was previously a 24-hour digital-only event before it was split into a 2-part celebration of DC, and a new WW84 trailer will drop during the first part tomorrow. And I believe like the first panel at 10 a.m. Pacific time is the Wonder Woman 1984 panel. So no surprise there. Now, the last time we got a trailer for this film, the world was quite different. It was December 2019. Now, we haven't seen any new footage since, so Wonder Woman fans should get very, very hyped for this. Now, Tara, I'm going to ask you about this first. What are your feels about this particular poster and the movie in general? Like, are you getting very retro 80s vibes from this poster?
Yeah, it makes me sad selfishly that in a different universes, different multiverses 2020, we were all at Comic-Con and we got this poster like in person and could frame it on our wall. This movie is something I actually was lucky enough to get to visit the set like 2 years ago this month. Saw actually this scene, the scene in the White House being filmed, and I love Wonder Woman. It's my favorite DC film. I know the third act is a mess. I know that Ares is a really crappy villain, but like that movie made me feel things. Like I love that No Man's Land scene, and I've been so excited to see this movie. And it's crazy that we haven't seen anything really from it since December. So I'm excited to get a new trailer. It's gearing up for a release later this year. And the thing that I really am hoping that the trailer shows us that we haven't seen yet is something not spotlighted in any of these posters, but is our first look of Kristen Wiig as Cheetah. They've certainly had time to make sure the VFX are all right. We know they're not going to tell us why Steve Trevor is back in some capacity after spoilers dying at the end of the first Wonder Woman. So that's like a big deal. But like, I'm really looking forward to hopefully seeing Cheetah in the trailer tomorrow and just being excited about movies coming out again.
Yes. Now, I believe they're still aiming to possibly release this too on the big screen, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, Tenet is technically out as of today, though here in Los Angeles, we can't go to movie theaters to see it. So, we're kind of looking at Tenet and the New Mutants coming out next week as like the big test to see if people actually show up, and certainly internationally if they show up. And then, there are other experiments like Mulan coming out after that on digital only. So I think most of the studios are kind of in a wait and see approach to see if people show up or they don't, and people do rent movies or pay to rent these movies digitally, and then we'll see if Wonder Woman's release is impacted after the outcomes of those.
Yeah, I feel like, well, right now for me, there's 2 movies that I really want to see in theaters. I want to see the New Mutants, and I want to see if it does get released, I want to see Wonder Woman 84 in theaters. I'm kind of curious, what are your takes on this? Stella, how do you feel? What would you want to see Wonder Woman on the big screen or the small screen?
I mean, yes, I would love to go back and to go to a movie theater and watch Wonder Woman on a big screen. But also, I want us to stay safe and, try to beat this pandemic as soon as possible. So wear your masks, everyone, and wash your hands. So I'm not against buying or renting online to watch it here in my home, especially since all these trailers are dropping, and I don't want them to drop so many trailers that it's like, oh, well, I know what's going to happen in the movie now. I really hate when trailers do that, when they show the entirety of the plot, and you're just like, well, okay, I guess I just saved a couple of bucks. Thanks. So I don't know. I really hope they can find a solution for people who can watch at home, and for people who are able to go, maybe in the future go to the theaters, they can maybe do like a re-showing or something like that. I don't know. I really want to see these movies already. So
Yeah. Like even if it's like in the comfort of your own home, I totally understand that. And also, it's easier too. Like, I mean, we're already here, like at home, and it just like, I mean, that's how I saw Scoob. Obviously, I wasn't going to see Scoob in the theaters. I was just like, all right, cool. I just bought it and just watched it right here. I was like, wow, that was comfy. I made my popcorn. I mean, I always have my popcorn ready. So,
oh my God.
I guess.
Kim, you have found a way to work that prop into every single video shoot I have done with you since quarantine. I'm so impressed.
It's the only prop I have. And costumes too, of course.
Yeah.
Now, so we have one comment I'm gonna read about this from a user by the name of Corinthian McVitie Kogue. I probably butchered that. But Corinthian says, awesome poster, love the retro look, but what's the point in Fandome if all of the information keeps getting released? Shouldn't these kind of reveals, cool posters, trailers, information be saved for a huge weekend full of DC nerdgasm? Well, I'm gonna answer that question. You got to build hype for something like for the event that we're gonna get tomorrow. Like I bought this costume that I'm wearing. I bought this 6 months ago for Comic-Con, which obviously didn't happen. And I was thinking and it just came in the mail like last week. It's a full costume, guys. It's not just a vest. I wasn't bold enough to wear this full costume on camera. But anyways, I was like, I thought I would never have a chance to wear this costume. But tomorrow I'm going to be sitting here in front of my computer screen dressed as Teen Titans Robin, full on. No, I'm not entertaining anyone. Just sitting here.
I know. I was like, Keem, are we doing anything on camera tomorrow?
No, we're not doing anything. I'm just going to be sitting here in front of my computer screen dressed as Robin with the mask and everything. I just wanted to. This is the only time I'll be on camera before the weekend, so that's why I wanted to give everyone a little taste of what they will not see tomorrow.
So hot in LA for that. I am impressed.
I
very hot. Trust me. I actually had it on and then I took it off because I was like, I can't do that because that'd be too crazy.
They're calling you a legend in chat.
Well, thank you. I try to be legendary.
Oh God. Okay.
Our final story, our final bit of news for today is about a dude that's not me. It's a dude by the name. It's a dude by the name of Borat. I don't know if you guys remember Borat. You guys, yeah, Gamash, you remember that guy.
Very nice.
Yes, there you go.
My wife.
Well, that was a good one. Well,
No, I know.
just one of the many quotable lines from the original movie. Well, Sacha Baron Cohen, he was spotted, like, it was kind of weird. He was spotted here in L.A., presumably filming Borat 2. Now, Borat, or as it was officially titled, this is a ridiculous title, Borat, Cultural Learnings of America for Make Benefit Glorious Nation of Kazakhstan, was released in, that's the actual title of the film, guys. I know it's crazy. It was released back in 2006 as a comedy, of course. Now, it found an audience that still quotes the movie today, as we just did. It was very nice. Our quotes were very nice. But the film has continued to draw criticism for its depiction of someone from Kazakhstan. Now, assuming Cohen is filming Borat 2, it would be the first major character of his to make a return for a sequel. Like, we've never seen Ali G in a sequel, or Bruno, I believe, is the other character that he does. Now, there's no official confirmation or word of Borat 2, but the proof of something related to the character is in the video. Again, he was spotted just driving around doing stuff. Now, I'm kind of curious. Now, how do we feel about the potential of Borat returning? Like, do you guys think, a character like this can still work with today's audience? Terry, how do you feel about Borat? Do you think it's very nice that he might be coming back?
Well, it's funny because we were talking I vividly remember seeing Borat, but 14 years have passed, a whole generation of TikTok teens, as they like to be called, I'm sure. that probably has no idea who Borat is. And part of the problem with Sacha Baron Cohen doing anything with Borat for at least a while after that movie came out is like he was so immensely popular that the whole premise of this character is that he could be in disguise and people could not know that it was a bit, and that they could film these real life reactions to this, and that's like where the satire comes in. And he would, like, everyone knew Borat, and so you couldn't get away with that. Is that the case now? I don't know. Like, I definitely think that there's a good chunk of people out there that have never heard of Borat, have forgot that this movie existed, are very curious why I did my wife impression. But like, if you were into Borat, then you that is ingrained in your mind forever. I'm more curious, like, is this Borat 2, or is this for something like a Quibi or YouTube or something like that, like intended to reach a different generation than the people that would remember the first Borat, and again, like, are the political sentiments and satirical elements that he wants to touch on updated and a little bit less questionable than they were back in 2006.
Yeah, and like much like you said, like I'm wondering too, like I doubt it's for the big screen, but again, you never know, because it has been a significant amount of time has passed since the original Borat and Borat being on the Ali G show. So, but I'm kind of curious though, like, what would the reception be overall? You know, like, because he was an icon back then. It's almost as if, like, to me, it's like if the Jackass guys were to return today, like, you know who they are. So like you see Chris Pontius doing his party boy dance in his underwear. You know who he is. Like, I don't think it'll have the same effect, or it'll resonate the same way as it did back then when they were like kind of unknown. Like Sacha Baron Cohen wasn't as well known as he is today, and that character is such an exaggeration that I don't think anyone would buy that this is this guy. This is how this guy really is, because it's such an exaggeration, and he just has like a look that's like, this is fake, you know. But back then it was like this could be kind of real, and people didn't know who he was. But I think like his antics are so prolific that I don't think he'll be able to get away with it. I don't know. I'm familiar with Borat. Terry, I know you are. Stella, how familiar are you with this very nice man?
I know, like, I've seen clips and stuff, but again, so I was pretty young when it came out, and my dad was watching it, and he saw the first scene. He was like, nope, get out of the room. So I wasn't allowed to watch it, so I just never saw it. I did see all the clips. I know references and stuff. But even so, like, I still know who this guy is, right? Like, and I know of his work. So it's like, even if I was part of that generation that missed seeing this movie and like getting the references like firsthand, I'm still like, oh, I know who that guy is. And I mean, I'm sure there are still people who don't know who certain celebrities are and like what their work is. Like, especially in LA, you know, if you walk down the street, you might run into a celebrity and not know, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like this could work, but there's still more of a chance that it probably won't. And I could see this being something for YouTube. I think that would do really well, especially since people are staying at home, they want more content, and they've been going online for entertainment now. So I feel like that would do really well on YouTube. Mm-hmm. As far as like what his actual content is comprised of, I have no idea.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I think YouTube is really the home, I think, for a Borat style show, just because you know, it's kind of the birthplace of like prank videos, and, well, maybe not the birthplace, but it's where those kind of videos have found their audience and found a way to thrive, for better or for worse. But I think the real challenge that Borat faces is, even though it's so many years after he broke onto the scene, he's still a very recognizable character, and I think the magic of the original Borat movie and the original Borat sketches was that you didn't quite know if it was like staged or not. It kind of hit like this kind of gray area, or like, is this for real? Is this actually happening? And I don't know if they can really capture that magic again.
Well, I know we're going long, but the thing that I had the thought too is like it was a completely different online game too. It's not like, you know, a sighting of Borat in real life was going, you know, viral on LiveJournal or like MySpace or something. So yeah, obviously people caught him while he was filming this. So, we'll see if we see more Borat sightings that help fill everything together.
That's actually a
am I
good
stuttering
point.
right now? I feel like my video is very, very slow right now.
You are.
Okay.
You're moving like a robot.
You sound great though.
Yeah, you sound great. But it's funny that you bring that up, Terry, because like even like last week, Steve-O, he duct taped himself to a billboard to promote, I guess, gnarly.com, I guess like his new website. But so firefighters, they brought him down. He wasn't arrested. The police were there. He wasn't arrested. They just let him go because it's like, oh, that's Steve-O being Steve-O, you know, you guys like. Because if a regular guy were to do that, who knows what would have happened, you know, to him? Like, but everyone knows like his prowess. They know what he's done in the past. So it's like he's just being a goofball. That's what he does. Same thing with Borat. Like we're probably going to see more sightings of Borat, you know, in LA and people like capturing it, you know, on their iPhones. So I definitely don't think it's going to have the same effect. But again, we don't even know what this is. What he's shooting. We don't know if it's a commercial, you know, that he's shooting. Like, hello, come get this. I don't know.
Could you imagine? It's like a Capital One commercial.
All of this
Oh my
for a
God.
Capital One commercial.
Well, Terry, Stella, Mitchell, this was so much fun. I love talking about more with you guys and news and games as well. We got to do this again soon. But that about does it for us, guys. We'll be getting even more big news soon when Gamescom is coming up, guys. One of the biggest gaming events of the year kicks off next week right here on IGN. So tune in starting on August 27th for everything Gamescom has to offer, including exclusive world premieres, just one hand? No,
Just
two
one.
hands, Akeem. Hands-on gameplay. Cosplay, and one of IGN's editors being played by a robot. Now, I'm not even joking about that. We managed to build a robot, and I guess one of our editors is going to be a robot. It's kind of strange stuff, but we're living in strange times right now, friends. Spread the hype by using the hashtag Gamescom2020 on all your favorite social media platforms, and we'll see you guys on August 27th. Peace!